Thank you, Benny, for having me at the NTA studios this afternoon. It's indeed heartwarming. And first, before saying anything, I want to express and put on record the unwavering support by Mr. President. Indeed, it is landmark because this is the first time we are having such a law that is very, very all-inclusive. And of course, the Mr. President is a capital market person from the days as governor of Lagos State. So clearly we wouldn't, be surprised at the speed at which this law was signed into law. More so, is guided by the Minister of Finance, the Minister for State for Finance, who are both capital market experts. So we are very, very grateful that this has happened. But beyond all of that, the essence of this law is actually to create a dynamic, inclusive, and resilient capital market. For every economy in the world, the capital market is actually the measurement of its movement. Indeed, it is said the capital market is the barometer of any economy, and Nigeria is not an exception. So we're very glad that this has come to be, and also on record is a gratitude to the National Assembly for getting this to happen as fast as it did. Yes, let's come to the contributions of this new law. This new law is revolutionary in all respects because it provides the SEC the opportunity of retaining its signatory A status with the International Organization of Securities Commission, IOSCO. That is significant because it allows other countries to benchmark the Nigerian SEC and the Nigerian capital market with other jurisdictions. What will that do? That will drive investment into Nigeria. That will drive friendly, investors into Nigeria, and also expand our capital market reach. So for us at the SEC and for us as Nigerians, it is a welcome development that I've been able to get this signed into law, because certainly it shows how serious we are in moving the capital market forward and indeed moving the Nigerian economy.
Okay, Doctor, can you speak to some of the key highlights of this act and how they can possibly impact on the market and by extension the Nigerian economy, particularly at this time?
Yes, there's so much. Like I said earlier on, the law is a very, very inclusive law with strong potentials for growth for the Nigerian capital market. But what are the key highlights like you asked? The key highlights range from being signatory A members to increasing the opportunities available for raising capital in the Nigerian capital market. We've also gone further by also including the regulation of online forex, for which a lot of Nigerians are involved in. We also significantly introduced legislations that speaks to digital assets regulation in Nigeria. This is huge because the Nigerian population, the youths that are involved in this space are many. So providing clarity and providing legal framework and background to this is very, very essential for our growth. Beyond all of that, we also have the LEI being introduced into the Nigerian law, which speaks to, derivatives and derivatives transactions. This is also very, very huge. The commodities ecosystem is well featured in this law, being able to provide regulation regarding the commodities ecosystem from the spot market onto the derivative market and the secondary market. We have also been able to remove, by this law, restrictions by states and local governments in their ability to raise capital and bring development to their states and, of course, municipal areas. So this, for us, is very, very important. Also, this law has been able to introduce some very stern measures regarding Ponzi schemes in Nigeria. We recognize that a lot of Nigerians are falling prey to these Ponzi schemes, and the reason why that is the case is because there were no sanctions, enough to debar them from doing this. So clearly, what this Act has done is to introduce 10 measures for Ponzi scheme operators and intending Ponzi scheme operators not to be able to do this again against the wish and will of Nigerians. Protecting the investors in Nigeria is a cardinal responsibility of the SEC, and this law has provided the SEC with stronger powers to be able to do that. This law has also been able to provide the SEC the powers to be able to search phones and get phone records for people who are interested in dealing with Nigerians or interested in duping Nigerians. We are able to get these records and quickly provide enforcement actions for the people that are involved. So for us, it is limitless. We think the provisions of this law are so huge and very, very fundamental in creating a dynamic, resilient, and strong capital market that will help in the development of this economy and, of course, will help in facilitating Mr. President's agenda of a $1 trillion economy.
Okay, talking about the $1 trillion economy and the market's capacity and capability to actually raise capital, long-term capital, particularly for execution, implementation of budget cycles, particularly for the federal government. Many have said, okay, capital market is a place to go. But some people in the government side are saying, well, the capital market is not strong enough in terms of capitalization to provide all of those funding needs, particularly capital projects. Can you speak to us on some of these things and the work the market is doing, particularly in the ongoing bank's recapitalization?
Well, thank you again for providing us the opportunity to at least guide Nigerians. Nigerian capital market is one of the strongest you can think about. Look at our ROI, the return on investment in the last year. It is significant, one of the best in the world. But beyond all of that, the taste of the pudding is in its eating. When you look at what we had done, or the market has done, achieved during the bank recapitalization, which is still ongoing, you can also speak to the phenomenality of that, of what has actually happened. To date, the Nigerian capital market has been able to facilitate the raising of capital by banks to the tune of 2.4 trillion, and it is still counting. There has never been any time in the history of this country where that has happened. Our responsibility is to facilitate growth, to facilitate exchanges, and to facilitate the movement of capital. That we have done successfully by the schemes in the banking recapitalization exercise. It's not ended. Besides the banks, other institutions have also come to raise capital. The governments are also raising capital. And, to speak to that clearly, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated recently raised 250 billion naira for housing, facilitation in Nigeria. It has never happened before, but it has happened in this time. It has happened under the regime of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to tell you that the capital market is resilient, and that resilience is showing. We have the capacity, we have the depth, and it is showing in the activities that are happening in the capital market. To speak to market capitalization, yes. We have moved from, what it was to over 65 trillion naira. That is to tell you the strength of the Nigerian capital market, and we're in no doubt that it will move forward.
Okay, good to know that. Now, at this point, the NNPC has finally indicated a readiness to allow Nigerians the opportunity of ownership by listing in the capital market. What's your take on this move, and what should the public expect?
Well, I would say here that the SEC is yet to receive that application, but it is a most welcome development. Democratizing wealth to Nigerians is a fundamental principle of growth. And for the NNPC to come to the market shows the spirit of transparency and good governance that this government, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is instilling in Nigerian companies and Nigerian institutions. So the coming of the NNPC to the Nigerian capital market to be listed on our exchange is one of the greatest achievements that will ever happen in this regime. So we welcome them. The SEC is available to assist. We're going to cooperate to make sure that that exercise is seamless and smooth. What has happened in the banking recapitalization, where we introduced the e-offerings and other dynamic processes to help to make sure that raising capital in this market is seamless, the investors are properly protected, and all of the issues around getting them to understand the processes are all laid out, is something that the SEC is able and willing to do at any point in time. So we encourage the NNPC, because Nigerians are actually waiting for the NNPC. To be part of it is going to be history, and that is history in the making.
Okay, great. Dr. Agama, I know before this act, the moment you assumed office, there's been a whole lot of reforms ongoing. Now, can you tell us the SEC's plans to ensure a seamless transition into the new regulatory framework, or is it just a continuation of what you've been doing before now, particularly in the crypto space?
Well, the truth about it is that we had started before now, and we have gotten the nod of the president to do what we have done. We introduced what we call the ROI, which is the regulatory incubation, and the ARIP, accelerated regulatory incubation. Those are processes for which we onboard, companies that are in the digital space. And the law that has just been passed significantly has introduced in clear terms the regulatory powers of the SEC on the digital space. That is critical. Why is that critical? Also, the introduction of that part of the provision of the law has given us a booster to our exit from the FATF grey list. So this law is huge in terms of its effect and its contribution to national economic development, national economic emancipation, and, of course, to bringing Nigeria to the front light of digital regulation. So for us at the SEC, we believe that it is time. It is time for us to take advantage of the opportunities that have been created by this government in making sure that the capital market is a great place to be and a great place to invest. And so we invite everyone that is interested in democratizing wealth and growing wealth to be part of the capital market.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omomotimi Agama, for sharing your thoughts with us at this particular point in time. I think this is heartwarming, particularly for some of us who still aspire to increase our volume of stocks in the Nigerian capital market.